If we continue to listen, Mettā Sutta expounded by the Lord Buddha. This sutta is especially for the monks who are practicing Mettā Bhāvanā. So if the Mettā practitioners or Vipassana yogis want to dwell penetrating the state of calm, he or she must be skilled in its good and should practice the three trainings. Three trainings are Sila, Sikha, Samadhi, Sikha, and Pinya Sikha. Morality training, concentration training, and wisdom training. A practitioner should be able, upright, very upright, obedient, gentle, and not conceited. So today we come to the number 7, Santo Sakoja. That is, yogi should be easily contented. So in this teaching, some may not be familiar with the rules and regulations of the monks. Buddha expounded this teaching. Buddha expounded the rules and regulations for the monks in this teaching. But nowadays, people are facing crisis, economic crisis within a crisis. So if they can learn how to be contented, how to get the peaceful state by applying the teaching of the Buddha. So Santo Sakoja, yogi should be easily contented. To be contented means, number 1, to be satisfied with what is available. Number 2, to be satisfied with what can be obtained within your own ability. Number 3 is to be satisfied with what is suitable or proper. These are the 3 kinds of contentment. If it is multiplied with 4 kinds of requisites, necessity for the monk, 3 contentment multiplied by 4 requisites, it will come to 12. So yogi should be contented in the light of these 12 qualities of contentment. With reference to the mode of contentment, number 1, a bhikkhu, a monk, should content himself with the 4 kinds of necessary things or properties, namely meals, robes, monastery or dwelling place, and medicine as may be available under any circumstances. As regards meal, Lord Buddha had given exhortation to the monks from the time of their first entering into monkhood. Pindiya lopa bhojana nisaya papija tata te yawa jivom usahokaraniya. That means a bhikkhu should truly maintain his observance of the moral precepts as a bhikkhu, as a monk, by merely depending upon the food, maybe a spoonful or a handful obtained from the respective house of the faithful donor by going in persons for alms. And the newly ordained bhikkhu should endeavor to live on these kinds of food obtained from the donor throughout his life. The significant point is that bhikkhu should go around for alms and lead a holy life. Befitting a bhikkhu without giving trouble to other people or without causing any other person to become burdensome for him. It would be a very heavy responsibility for the part of a benefactor if he or she were to cook meals and serve the monk every day. Nobody will have any trouble. If the bhikkhu can obtain food by going rounds for alms to the houses from where he can receive food and other eatables as may be willingly and generously offered by the benefactors. So it is for the bhikkhus to be contented with whatever is available. So according to the Vinaya rules for the monks, it will be a dukkata, a breach of Sakya conduct of bhikkhu. If the monk asks for food from a person who is not a relative without being invited, unless he is sick or he is gilana, so the monk should not ask for food without being invited unless he is sick. And according to the Vinaya rules, it will amount to committing an offense of pachitya. If, for instance, a bhikkhu receives cash for food or asks for delicious butter rice, etc., so bhikkhu should not receive cash or ask for delicious butter rice, etc. Even at the time of serving the meals, if a bhikkhu is not invited, he should not ask for it. So Theravada bhikkhus should not ask for cash or money. Nowadays, uh, you can come across some bhikkhus near a famous shrine or a crowded place like a wharf or a jetty, asking for cash to be donated to them. These are a few instances where a breach of conduct of bhikkhu is involved. Some donors might offer cash. Every time a bhikkhu handles the cash that is offered, it will amount to committing Niskiya Pajitiya offense of bhikkhu, according to the rules for the monks, Patimokkha rules. So such a faulty conduct is harmful to the sasana, to the teaching of the Lord Buddha. This misconduct, according to the rules of Vinaya, and its degrading effect on the good image of the noble sasana, noble teaching, are due to discontentment. So it will be of advantage to a monk if there is contentment. So he will be free from fault, and this will be in the interest of the sasana, in the interest of the teaching of the Lord Buddha. So all good and noble monks should be contented with whatever is available for their daily consumption of food. So with regard to food, Paintapada, how Lord Buddha uh, uh, was contented and how he practiced patience, Buddha and 500 monks. So at one time, 12 years after having attained the Buddhahood, Lord Buddha went to a town called Virinja in western part of India. Lord Buddha sat down underneath a neem tree called Naleru near that town, near that Virinja. The tree was so named after the ogre who had taken possession of it, just as in certain trees said to have been possessed by some spirit and called by the name of that spirit. So with the fully enlightened Buddha were 500 monks. 500 monks together with the Lord Buddha. At that time, a certain Brahmin who was a resident of that Virinja came to the Lord Buddha and laid charges, and Buddha gave the accusing Brahmin a summon. And that Brahmin attained the his state of Sotapanna. So after attaining the state of Sotapanna, the Brahmin requested the Lord Buddha to spend the current vasa at that Virinja. Lord Buddha granted that request, and Lord Buddha and his 500 disciples spent a vasa reigning retreat there. The Brahmin of Virinja had requested the Lord Buddha and 500 monks to stay for the rainy season, but he had not offered to build a monastery for him, and the 500 disciples of the Lord Buddha had to seek shelter wherever available near the tree. So the shelter for monks were probably the smaller neem trees around that big neem tree. As there was drought in that year, the monks did not have trouble from getting wet with rain. So now you see Lord Buddha and monks, his disciple of the Lord Buddha, stay under the trees. During the stay, Mara, the evil one, was doing his evil work. Mara made the people living within a radius of 1 yojana, roughly 6 miles, ignorant of the Lord Buddha and the monks. Besides, there was a famine. People themselves were supplied with food under a ration system. So it is like the people lining up at food bank. Because of the economic crisis. In those times, communication was so bad that distribution of goods must have been in a catastrophic condition, and people were starving. There was no one in the town of Virinja who would offer food to the monks. At that time, 500 horse dealers from northern India arrived at the town. As there was famine, there was no one to buy a horse, but the rains had come to their to their place. So the horse dealers had to shelter. They were obliged to remain in that Virinja. So when the 500 horse dealers saw the bhikkhus, they were willing to offer food to the Lord Buddha and his disciple. But as they were they were mere visitors, they were only travelers, they had no facility to make the offering a daily affairs. But they had with them a large supply of what called a tough kinds of wheat for feeding their horses. So that kinds of wheat for feeding their horse could be unhusked and boiled and eaten. So it is called pulaka. Pulaka has been often translated as mayo rice. The horse dealers told the horse dealers fed their horses only once instead of twice daily as they used to do, and offered the horse food to the Lord Buddha and the monks. As they were just travelers, they could not afford to cook the wheat and offer the cooked meal. So the monks had to make do with what was offered them. The wheat had to be boiled, and the boiled wheat set in the sun to dry, and then the dry wheat had to be crushed or pounded and wetted with water and taken as meal. So the work had to be done by groups of 8 monks or 10 monks each. The horse dealers offered butter and honey also. Venerable Ananda makes wheat with butter and honey and offered the meal to the Lord Buddha. And it is said that the deities put their celestial food in the mixtures. Lord Buddha accepted the food and after taking it, spent the entire days sitting under the great neem tree and went into Palasamapati. And all the monks, with the exception of Venerable Ananda, were arahants. So they were not shaken for any reason. Venerable Ananda was only a Sotapanna in that group. So all the other monks were also sitting under their respective neem trees and entering into Palasamapati all day. In this manner, Lord Buddha and the 500 arahants spent the entire vasa, spent the entire three rainy months at that famine place. It is an instance which we should admire for the Lord Buddha and his disciple practicing content, contented. So we should follow the footsteps of the Lord Buddha and his disciple and endure the scarcity of food. And we should ponder in this way, and while being deeply respectful of the Lord Buddha's patience and endurance, and we should practice also. So Lord Buddha and these monks were obliged to pound the tough rice and eat it it is a kinds of very inferior. So regarding this, Lord Buddha said, Tumbehi sapurisehi vijitam Ananda. Buddha said, Ananda, you all good people, you all good persons have achieved success. You all conquered lobha, desire. The village of Virinja was famine-stricken, but nearby villages were not. Other uh, other villages were quite well off. But Buddha's disciple did not complain for having stayed at this Virinja, famine-stricken place. That is why Lord Buddha said, Ananda, that all you had achieved success, you all conquer lobha. And then as regard robes, Lord Buddha had instructed to be content with pansukula robes made of rags taken from a refuse heap. Permission has been granted to wear the robes donated by the benefactors of their own accord and out of their generosity. As such, a bhikkhu should remain in contentment with any kinds of robes which he may receive in accordance with the rules and discipline of the bhikkhu. If bhikkhu seeks for any other kinds of robes, contrary to the bhikkhu's conduct, he is considered to be committed an offense. So regarding robes, even Lord Buddha took the clothes, pansukula clothes, from the corpse, When Buddha went to Uruvela forest and to take the clothes from the Bhāvanā, the lady, and there are many worms uh, uh, within the robes, and Buddha had to take these clothes and wash properly, and Buddha used the pansukula robes. Very amazing. And in respect of lodging and bed, Lord Buddha has instructed the bhikkhus to stay at the foot or under the shade of the tree, or reside in a monastery or a building offered as a gift. So to remain in contentment is essential. If a bhikkhu accepts cash and requests that a building be constructed with that money, or If bhikkhu receives the gift of money in person and keeps it in his possession, or if he personally spends this money for the purpose of building a monastery, that bhikkhu, that monk is guilty for the bhikkhu's offense. He is guilty according to the Patimokkha discipline. It is also against the rules of discipline for bhikkhu to dwell in such a building, either by him or any other monks. And the last one is medicine. Insofar as medicine or drugs are concerned, Lord Buddha had laid down instruction for monks to take urine of cattle as medicine. It is called Putimota in Pali. Putimota, urine of cattle as medicine. So it is learned that some people who suffer from neurotic pain had been cured by taking orally the cattle urine. A medicine which has been discarded as rotten and putrid is called putimota in a way. So this definition calls for consideration whether it is the real intention of the Lord Buddha, because according to the present day, pharmacologists, they have instructed to avoid taking medicine or drugs, the potency of which has expired. If the stinking or putrid drugs are taken, it may not have the desired effect for not being uh, not being efficient to cure the disease. Also, it may be difficult to search for a medicine that has been discarded. So, it should be considered as to whether, according to the interpretation of the grammatical term putimota, it will fall in line with what is really intended to mean putimota by the Lord Buddha himself. And in regard to medicine, a sick monk can ask for it from any person according to the rules. However, it will be a niskiya offense for a monk if he asks for money from other people and buys medicine and makes use of it. Contentment is also necessary relating to the medicine that is available. If the monk remains in contentment with what is available, it is known as Yathalabha Santosa in Pali. Then, because of sickness or general debility, when a monk makes use of suitable food, robes, monastery, bed, and medicine, which he received in exchange for his own properties, which are unsuitable. It is called Yatta Bala Santosa in Pali. What is meant by it is to be contented with what is available to him in his own capacity or within his own ability. And then consuming food or wearing robes, etc., which are superior qualities and which have been received in exchange for his properties, that are considered too good and improper for him uh, to make use of them is called Yatta Sarupa Santosa in Pali. It means to be contented or satisfied with properties appropriate or suitable for the purpose. In brief, yogi should have entire satisfaction with the three kinds of contentment, and more broadly speaking, with the 12 kinds of contentment. Otherwise, he can be guilty. In this mundane world, to have satisfaction with his own wealth is important. If no contentment can be found, he can become miserable. Being eagerly desirous of something which is not within his own reach, if he does anything that ought not to be done, he is likely to, to commit a criminal offense. If he yearns for a thing which is not obtainable, extreme misery will befall him. If the head of the household is not satisfied with the meals cooked and served at his home, he can be at loggerheads with his housewife, or that he may pick up a quarrel on that reason, which we thereby cause misery to him. So in the present day world, there are a number of rich people who have become miserable for not being contented with what they own and possess. They never satisfied with their enjoyment. So they have to become miserable. So yogi should feel satisfaction with what he has. Yogi should not want this thing and that things because uh, uh, here monks actually are supported by lay people. They have to be contented. Monks must be satisfied with what they have. If they want many things, They will have to ask the lay people to give them these things. I want another robe. I want a new robe, new bowl. So that would be something like harassment for lay people, for benefactors. So contentment is a very good quality to be developed by the monks and by lay people. So if a person who is living from hand to mouth, if satisfied with his condition, he can find happiness. So that is the reason why Lord Buddha has preached as Santokti, Santokti Paramantana. Contentment is the best. Contentment is the best and the noblest property. So this noble teaching is very natural. So a person who is practicing meditation should have contentment in everything. Those who are contented are rich because they are not lacking in anything. They don't need anything. And contentment is compared in the books to covering the soles of your feet with leather. When you want to walk on the earth, you cannot cover the whole earth with leather, but you can cover the sole of your feet with leather. When the soles of your feet were covered, virtually the whole earth is covered. In the same way, when you are contented with what you have, then you have everything because you need nothing. So that is in number 7, the Santokti. Santokti or Santosako, to be contented. To be contented. Now people are facing the crisis, economic crisis within a crisis, and if they strive on to overcome this crisis, and also at that moment they need to be contented. So we continue other things next week. We have to stop our discourse for today by practicing Mettā Bhāvanā, by practicing loving kindness meditation and Vipassana meditation continuously and meticulously. May all practitioners realize the real peace in the very near future. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.